Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam. Yay. So we're reading today from the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, text 33. Chapter 7, text 33. Patnyauchu yagyo yam tava yajanaya kena shrishto vidvastoho pashupattinadya daksha gopat tang nas tvam sava shayanaba shanto medham jagyatam man nalina rucha drisha punihi patnyauchu yagyoyam tava yajanaya kena sristo vidvasta pashupatinadya dakshakopat tam nastvam shavashayanavashantamedham jagyatman nalina rucha drisha punihi yagyoyam tava yajanaya kena srishto vidvastaha pashupatinadya dakshakopat tam nastvam shavashayanavashantamedham jagyatman nalina rucha drisha punihi Patnya Uchu. The wives of the executors of the sacrifice said, Jagya, the sacrifice, Ayam, this, Tava, your, Yajanaya, worshipping, Keno, by Brahma, Shishtaho, arranged, Vidvastaho, devastated, Pashupatina, by Lord Shiva, Adya, today, Dakshakupat, from anger at Daksha, Tam, it, Naha, our, Tvam, you, Shavashayana, dead bodies, Abha, like, Shantamedam, the still sacrificial animals, Jagya Atman, O Lord of sacrifice, Nalina, lotus, Rucha, beautiful, Drisha, by the vision of your eyes, Punihi, sanctify. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The wives of the performers of the sacrifice said, My dear Lord, this sacrifice was arranged under the instruction of Brahma, but unfortunately, Lord Shiva, being angry at Daksha, devastated the entire scene. And because of his anger, the animals meant for sacrifice are lying dead. Therefore, the preparations of the Jagya have been lost. Now, by the glance of your lotus eyes, the sanctity of this sacrificial arena may be again invoked. Report. What about Hindi? Is it that's okay? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Animals were offered in sacrifice in order to give them renewed life. That was the purpose of having animals there. Offering an animal in sacrifice and giving him renewed life was the evidence of the strength of chanting mantras. Unfortunately, when Daksha's sacrifice was devastated by Lord Shiva, some of the animals were killed. One was killed just to replace the head of Daksha. Their bodies were lying about, and the sacrificial arena was turned into a crematorium. Thus, the real purpose of Jagya was lost. Lord Vishnu, being the ultimate objective of such sacrificial ceremonies, was requested by the wives of the priests to glance over the Jagya arena with his with his causeless mercy, so that the routine work of the Jagya might be continued. The purport here is that animals should not be unnecessarily killed. They were used to prove the strength of the mantras and were to have been rejuvenated by the use of the mantras. They should not have been killed, as they were by Lord Shiva, to replace the head of Daksha with an animal's head. It was pleasing to see an animal sacrificed and rejuvenated, and that pleasing atmosphere had been lost. The wives of the priests requested that the animals be brought back to life by the glance of Lord Vishnu to make a pleasing Jagya. Om Bhagyanathamrandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chaksurimand Jena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Bandlanari Tadvipatam Ham Vande Sri Guru Padamananda Madhava Sri Chaitanya Hare Krishna. Excuse me. So the scene of the Yajna arena is being very graphically described here. You can imagine a wonderful Yajna in this must be, what is this, Treta Yuga or it must be Treta Yuga or Satya Yuga. Satya Yuga. Just getting going. Satya Yuga. Unimaginable, Satya Yuga. What was Satya Yuga like? We are in this Kali Yuga, and we look around, and this world is somewhat, it's very distressing. We can hardly imagine such a Yajna. Some of you may have visited the Kumbh Mela. Any of you went to Kumbh Mela? There are a few Yajnas going on. There was one big Yajna arena, 108 homas and swaha and so on. But still, it was some attempt. But it was just a fraction of the Yajna, the opulence of the Yajnas arranged by the demigods. You can just imagine what a beautiful arrangement. And in this arrangement, animals were being brought in, old animals. Just like they were coming in like into a operating theater, or they were going to be given new life by the power of mantra. And by the power of this mantra, they would be killed and then brought back to life, rejuvenated life. Now one could question that still this is killing an animal that's painful for the animal. So this is not very kind in any case. Even they're given new life, still, why submit them to this pain? But we can think of it like an operation. One enters the operating theater and there'll be some pricks and some pain, but the result is a cure or some treatment. And we can imagine, or we can expect, that if the Brahmins had such power to rejuvenate these animals, they must have also had the power to kill them painlessly. And in this way, demonstrate the power of mantra and please the assembly. What was the purpose of this? Why do this? Sacrifice is for Vishnu. And generally we see Yajna, what goes on? We invoke the Lord to His presence in the fire. And then in that fire we offer various substances as an offering to Him. So in this way we are making offerings to the Lord through this medium of Yajna with mantra and homa. But this business of killing the animal and rejuvenating, it's not an offering as such. The animals are not being offered to the Lord. The Lord does not want animals to eat or something like that. No, this was a little sideshow, you could say. Sometimes if you've seen these Yajnas, there are some performances that are meant to make the whole show more opulent and pleasing. The arena is decorated. So it is explained here that the purpose of this, the animals, their presence in the sacrificial arena, was to demonstrate the power of the mantras given by the Lord. It is not that the Brahmins had some power, that they had some personal power to bring an animal back to life. It was the power of the mantra. And where is this mantra coming from? This mantra is being given by Krishna. He is giving these mantras to these sages. They're ultimately coming from Him. And through these mantras, so many things they can accomplish. Even Jagya itself, Krishna says in the Gita, that I have sent forth generations of men along with this process of Jagya. I have given this. I've given this system of Jagya, of sacrifice, for this sustenance, for the maintenance of humankind, for the meeting all of our needs. Through the process of Jagya, the Lord is pleased. The demigods are all invoked. They're all brought to the Jagya arena. And they participate as well. They receive the remnants of the offerings to the Lord. They are also satisfied. And when the Lord is satisfied, and all of His agents are also satisfied, they shower the earth and the human population with all needs and requirements for our sustenance. Rain and good crops, grains come forth, vegetables. And in this way, humanity can live very happily. This was the state of human society in the Satya Yuga, when the process of Jagya, where the ability to meditate on the Lord, all of these were fully present in human society. Happiness. This was a world of happiness. And then along comes this horrible scene you can imagine. In the midst of such happy times, due to Daksha's perverted mentality towards Lord Shiva. Although this is Satya Yuga, Shiva is still Shiva. He doesn't change his pastimes that much according to the various yugas. He still has his affinity to bring along various characters. The associates of Lord Shiva are sometimes quite fearsome and difficult to appreciate. And Daksha, being very proud of his position, he couldn't stomach Lord Shiva's behavior. And it all came out in this awful way. And thus, in the midst of the glorious Satya Yuga, this wonderful occasion meant for the pleasure of everyone, beautiful time, you can imagine Sati was so anxious to participate. This was a great event. This was going to be really wonderful. And what does it become? It's become completely the opposite. It's as if that some years ago there was a disaster in our world. And some of the places that were affected were resort places in Indonesia and in that area. I don't know if any of you have any of you visited Bali, Indonesia? Some of you? Anyway, Bali is a beautiful place. Weather is always very nice. The beaches are sandy, the water is clear, and just lovely, lovely place. And people go there just to enjoy. And from the material point of view, it's a very enjoyable place. So you can imagine being there, and then what happens? Tsunami! A tsunami hits. All of a sudden the ocean rears up, barrels in, everything completely destroyed. People washed away, animals here, there, cars and trucks and buildings smashed. So imagine that, and then look, this is the scene of Daksha's Yajna. It is as if a tsunami had hit. Everything destroyed. And naturally now, Vishnu has come. And the wives are begging, please, please, bring back the peace, the beauty of this scene. Bring back these animals who have been killed. They are innocent. They did nothing. They were simply here as part of this arrangement. And now they've been unnecessarily killed. Please, bring them back to life. Then we can begin to restore our semblance of well-being in this arena. So Prabhupada says that the purport of this particular verse is what? What is the purport? The purport here is that animals should not be unnecessarily killed. Now, what is one of the primary symptoms of our Kali Yuga, our age? Not the Satya Yuga, but this age. What is one of the great symptoms of this age? Animals are being killed en masse, slaughtered. If you think that this scene of Daksha's arena was disturbing, you just visit one of the slaughterhouses of this world, of which there are thousands, if not millions. Innocent animals being led to merciless slaughter. And where? Not just in America, in Australia, in Brazil, but here in Bharat. Here in the land where Krishna has appeared. You'll be surprised to know that India today has become the largest exporter of beef. This is the state of Bharat. Srila Prabhupada writes of this in Srimad Bhagavatam. He says, this is the first canto, chapter 17. This is written before coming to America. Text 3.
Gam cha dharma dhugam dhinam vrisham shudra vadahatam vivatsam asuru vadanam kshaman yavasamichatim. Although the cow is beneficial because one can draw religious principles from her, she was now rendered poor and calfless. Her legs were being beaten by a Shudra. There were tears in her eyes, and she was distressed and weak. She was hankering after some grass in the field. Purport. The next symptom of the age of Kali is the distressed condition of the cow. Milking the cow means drawing the principles of religion in a liquid form. So I'll skip for time. But in the Kali Yuga, the cow's calf not only is beautiful to look at, but also gives satisfaction to the cow. And so she delivers as much milk as possible. But in the Kali Yuga, the calves are separated from the cows as early as possible for purposes which may not be mentioned in these pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. The cow stands with tears in her eyes. The Shudra milkman draws milk from the cow artificially, and when there is no milk, the cow is sent to be slaughtered. These greatly sinful acts are responsible for all the troubles in present society. They are responsible for all the troubles in present society. Srila Prabhupada is giving us this very stark analysis of our current situation. In our present day, because of the degradation of governance, of humanity, of people in general, the cow from whom all religious principles may be derived has been subjected to the most awful conditions, not only in places like, as I said, in Europe and in America, where one could say there's ignorance, but here in our own land of Bharat, where there is no excuse. There is no excuse for the condition of the cow in our country, in India. And we have to think about this. We have to see what we can do to try to save the cows. The first is that we propagate Krishna consciousness amongst people, to get the sentiment back that religious life is valuable. And what is religious life? It is not the rituals that are important. It is the heart. It is evoking the heart of love. All arrangements that we have for bringing people to our temples, what is the purpose? We want them to re-establish their love for God by bringing God into their lives in a practical way. And as that love awakens, by coming and seeing the Lord in His temple and by chanting His holy names, then we can hope that the love for God's creatures and especially his favorite, the cow. Why? The cow is favorite of Krishna. Krishna personally enjoys looking after cows in his home, in his Vrindavan home. He personally enjoys his life with the cows. And he's also arranged that the cow will carry into society religious principles, spirituality. The cow has been singled out by the Lord. Specifically singled out. This particular animal, just as human form. Human form has been created by the Lord for a purpose. Why are we all sitting here in human bodies? Why aren't we all sitting here as birds? We could be birds. Sitting here, birds sit around and talk and have nice conversations. And of course, I don't hear them being quiet and one bird speaking to them, but anyways, we have human bodies. And what's significant about this human body? This human body is like unto the body of Krishna himself. We have 2 arms. Krishna has 2 arms. We have 2 arms. Krishna has 2 legs. We have 2 legs. We are fashioned. Our bodies are fashioned. This human body is fashioned by the Lord as like his own body. And Krishna has a cow, Surabhi. And Surabhi, her body, is the form by which all the cows receive their form. This was next in the Srimad Bhagavatam, is described like this. In this next few verses, we want to get the reference. And what is specifically the feature of this particular form? Just as our forms have a specific feature, we can speak and hear and talk about Krishna in Bhagavatam. We have the form through which we can atato brahma jigyasa. We can think about Krishna. We can explore and become self-realized. So the form of the cow is designed to carry all blessings for society. The most important product of the cow is not its milk. The most important thing we get from the cow are the blessings of the cow. And those blessings are the blessings of the entire universe. Every devata in this universe, Krishna himself, they're all living in the body of the cow to give us blessings by serving them, cow. So we can hope that as people become more and more in love with Krishna, in love with God, that they'll begin to recognize that God has also given us the cows as a means to serve Him, as a means to connect with Him, to derive religious principles as described here. So then what happens? What is next? What is next for us? You are all here. We all agree, isn't it? We agree. There's no question. We love the cows. But what are we doing about it? How are we being a part of the solution? Or are we being a part of the problem? Do you all drink milk? How many here are milk drinkers? How many here have forsworn milk because of Not because of health, but because of ethical principles. No one. But are you aware that the milk that you are getting in the market, are you aware that the price of that milk has been subsidized by the slaughter of the family of that cow? Are you aware? Do you know this? Do you know it? You must know it. It is a fact. You ask, go to the gowala, go to the people who are taking care of it. Ask them what happens when that cow gets old and can't give any more milk. Ask him what happens to the bulls that are born of that cow. Ask. Do you know what you'll find out? Do you know? You will find that they are sold. Do you know who buys them? Do you think it's another farmer who's going to buy an old cow just to keep as a pet? No. How can India be the world's largest exporter of beef if all the old cows simply live their lives? No, that wouldn't work. Someone has to kill them. Someone has to sell them. How do you think you can buy milk in the market for whatever it is, 50 rupees, 60 rupees? I don't know what the price is. When the cost to maintain the animals that provide that milk is 2 or 3 times that if all of the animals were maintained. It is only possible because the old animals, the young bulls, they're all sold. And where are they sold? They're sold to someone. Those who are, religious, pious, they sell to somebody who says, yes, we will take, it's no problem, we'll take them. And they don't ask any questions. Because they know, but they don't want to be implicated. Those who are Hindus and have some sentiment. But then there's a middleman, they go in another place. This is the state. So if you are going to participate, and I'm not suggesting that we stop receiving. Prabhupada says that milk is religiosity in liquid form. It is coming from the cow. There's great blessings in the milk. But we must reciprocate. We must seek, we must work, we must find a way that the cows that provide us milk, that they live their lives out to their natural deaths, that their children are protected. We must find a way, and we can find a way. We must find a way. Otherwise, what use is it that we call ourselves devotees of Krishna if we don't attempt this at least? Now, we cannot expect, Prabhupada says here, that the state of the world, because of the degradation of government, he says here, this is in the purport of text 9, protection of bulls and cows and all other animals, buffaloes too, can be possible only when there is a state ruled by an executive head like Maharaj Parikshit. So, the complete protection of the animals may be only possible when the governments of this world, and beginning with this country, are elevated. But at least we, the devotees of Krishna, we can do what we can do to get our relationship with the cow on a proper level. So I encourage you all to think about this. Those of you who have some responsibilities in ISKCON in Delhi, you can think about how to seek out some farmers or some people who can supply milk from protected cows. And we can, this is some practical things. In the UK, devotees have made arrangements now with some commercial farms that through contracts and so on, that those commercial farms would provide protection to the animals, and that the milk derived from those farms would be sold at a price that would enable that to happen. We can do this. We can transform the milk economy. We can transform the care for cows in this country. One way is by legislation. That is, the governments of this country, as far as possible, if they can be convinced to legislate for the protection of cows, then that is a major step forward. But if the economics of the protection of cows is distorted by the slaughter industry, if it's more profitable for a farmer to sell their cow into slaughter, if the market is ignorant, then there will be some way to this, despite legislation. Just like today, there are various states that have anti-cow slaughter laws. But there is a steady stream of cows that end up in various ways being smuggled out to Andhra Pradesh and other places where they are slaughtered. So I'm not proposing that it is an easy solution. There's an easy way to address the problem of cow slaughter in India. But I am suggesting that we not forget it. We not think that this is something that is an unfortunate fact of Kali Yuga. It is something that we can personally do something about by choosing how we consume the products of the cow. We can make a difference. We can be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And we can understand by Srila Prabhupada's words here that if we can save the cow, we can save the world. Prabhupada says, he said, these greatly sinful acts are the cause of all the troubles of society. It is a domino effect in the social atmosphere of this world. That if the cow becomes protected, the spill-off, the effects from that will cascade into all segments of society and uplift it. Just as the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is uplifting our consciousness, uplifting our minds, uplifting our hearts, so the care for cows can uplift the social economic arrangement as well. So, think about it. Take this. See what you personally can do. If you can, I don't know. In my own capacity as a resident of Mayapur, I'm doing little something to try to serve the cows there. Here you are in a city, so it's more difficult. But you have cows in Vrindavan that you can connect with. There's another suggestion that I have for all of you. especially the householders, that if you are purchasing milk from the market, you should be aware that you're paying a discounted price. You're paying a subsidized price. You're getting a break, so to speak, on the back of the cows. Don't take it. Don't take it. Don't take this subsidy. Refuse it. Take the money that you should have paid, which you can calculate is probably at least double. Whatever you're paying in the market, another 50% is what you should have paid if those cows were protected. Take that money that you saved by this distorted market and give it to cows. Give it to cows in Vrindavan. Give it to cows in Mayapur. Give it to cows wherever they are. Give it to the seva of the cows. Don't take it. Don't take the subsidy. Don't take it. Refuse it. You can take the milk so that you can offer it to Krishna and receive and benefit that cow who gave it by their service to Krishna. Take it. It's okay. But don't take the subsidy. Don't take the discount. Refuse it. Take that money. Give it to the cows. Give it to their service. This is a practical thing we can all do. And then gradually, maybe those cows and those farmers, they may be able to start using the money that you're giving them to begin to be able to provide you with milk that is properly coming from protected cows. This is something you can do. A friend of ours who's a great lover of cows in New Vrindavan calls this industrial milk offsets. You know, like you have carbon offsets. Any of you have ever seen have you bought an airplane ticket? Some airplanes, they offer this, that, all right, you have bought this air ticket. Do you realize that by flying on this airplane, you're going to emit so much carbon into the atmosphere, this is going to cause global warming, etc. So here's an opportunity to offset the effect of your flying by giving whatever it is, $10, $15, and we'll plant trees with it. And the trees will take the carbon out, etc. And this is called carbon offsets. Have you heard of this? Some of you have. So some of you have heard of this. So this is industrial milk offsets. You can offset the effect of buying milk from this industrial slaughterhouse system by giving that amount that should have been given in the first place. Give it to the cows. This is something you can all do. It's practical. And those of you who are in a position to think big, to think in a major way, then think about how you can get together with some smart people, organized people, to develop ahimsa milk products for the market. Think about it. It can be done. They're doing it in the UK. If they can do it in the UK, how can they not be able to do it in Delhi, where should be a huge market? So thank you for this little digression to some extent, but this was the purport. This was the purport. Unnecessary killing. How to stop it. Hare Krishna. So thank you. A little time for question, Krishna Priya.